because I feel like, yeah, she's new. She would have got this one. Tamara wasn't here. Okay. All right. Well, it's cool. It's cool. It's all good. All right. So, today we're going to talk about nail tips. So, at least you just jumping right in. Just jump right in. Don't feel like, you missed anything. You have, but it's all good. It all kind of comes together at the end, okay? Whatever you missed, it rolls back around. So, y'all gonna look at me instead of the screen? Dang, I put my face up there so y'all can look at me up there.
I didn't even notice.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be talking to y'all. Can look back at me if you want to. All right, so I see that you obviously know a little bit about nail tips. You did your nails; they're so beautiful, and you use tips, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the last couple of weeks we've been working on our ratio, right? Mm-hmm. So ratio there, I knew Fabby was missing. I'm like, Fabby's missing. We've been working on ratio. So that all kind of comes together when we get to tips and sculpting, right? So you guys have played on paper for the last couple of weeks, and now we're going to apply what you learned with ratio to tips and sculpting. So next week we'll be doing sculpting. Y'all excited about that?
Yeah.
How many of y'all seniors like sculpting now that you learned it? Yeah? Is it better to you than nail tips? Yeah. Well, and I think it's, it just depends on the student, but a lot of times once you learn how to sculpt it, it's a little bit, it's kind of fun. Yeah. So today, we're going to talk about is nail tips, and we're going to explain why you need to learn about nail tips. Also, the difference between nail enhancements and nail extensions, as well as prep. Prep is probably the most important part of, it's not probably, it is the most important part of nail application. Because if you don't prep the nails properly, they're going to pop off. Anybody ever had their nails just pop off all in one piece? Just like a press on?
Yeah.
You ever wonder why?
In my defense, these are the press on.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, even the press-ons like the Gel X, they're supposed to last, quite a while. So, and then we're going to talk about different types of nail tips that are out there because you guys are so lucky. There's so many different types of nail tips out there. We didn't used to have all that. All we had was the regular schmegula,
Curve.
yeah, salon style nail tips. That's all we had. All right. So, why do you think you need to learn about nail tips versus any other, nail subject? Yeah, they're not around. They're not in the drawers. Anybody got forms? Anybody got some forms? Lord. Hold on, let me go get them. All right. Why do you think you need to learn it? Y'all whisper now. Y'all distract me. I know y'all done learned this before, but some of y'all need to learn it again. I've been looking at y'all's test. Y'all know y'all supposed to pass y'all's tests on y'all online with at least a 75, right? Some of y'all just scroll right on through it. Zoe, did you hear me? See, she ain't. Zoe, did you hear me? Some of y'all need to go through and make sure that you pass those tests. I don't know what made you think you could just go through it with a 50% and just skip right by it. But y'all, not just you. I'm saying everybody. Y'all need to go through and make sure that you're passing these tests. Because if you don't have them done by the time it's time to graduate, you're gonna have to scurry back and do it again. Okay, so just go back and make sure. I don't know how the system would let y'all do that, but some of y'all got through it. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, nail tips. This is probably one of the most requested services. What y'all think? Some of you seniors that's doing nails illegally outside of school. How many of y'all get requests for nail tips versus sculpting? all the time, right? So this is something that you definitely have to learn, okay? And like I said, you guys are lucky. I got all these fancy tips that are already shaped into stiletto shape, and they're already coffin, and you just got to cut the length, right? So it's one of the most popular services out there. And we use nail tips to extend the nail, okay, to make them longer. Y'all, shh, just whisper for a few minutes. Y'all distract me, okay? When you're extending the nail with nail tips, you have to do a lot of stuff to the nail, prepare it before you get ready to do that. Otherwise, those nails are not going to last, okay? I don't care how beautiful the nails look. If they pop off the next day, your client's not going to be happy, okay? So we prepared a nail tip, and we're going to go into detail about how you do that. Now, properly sizing nail tips is very important as well, and how you secure them. Anybody have any other way of securing nail tips other than glue? I see that there's something new out there. You guys, you seniors, any of y'all?
Gel.
Right, they're using gel now to adhere the nail tips on, using just like you do with the Gel X, or use a little light. Anybody tried that? No? You scared? Why?
'Cause I heard somewhere that like if it's not cured all the way, that it leaves you can get a fungal infection.
That could happen with anything though. But you got to think like Gel X, right? They adhere that with gel, right? Mm-hmm. So what would be the difference if you adhere the tip? Yeah. Oh, you scared of those too? Well, don't be, because they're something that you definitely need. We're gonna do them in here. You're gonna learn how to do them in here, and it's something that people are asking for nowadays. All right. So, what's one of the things that new nail tips have problems with is properly sizing tips. If you've ever tried to put on a nail tip and it just it felt like it was too tight, it's almost like putting on a shoe that's too tight. Like it hurts, right? And it can also cause nail disorders. What nail disorder, seniors, can you get from not wearing tips that fit properly? Onycholosis. That's onycholosis. Onycho what? Colitis, right? And what is onycholosis? Of? Excellent. Okay, somebody's listening. Okay, so anybody ever seen that particular disorder and what it looks like when you wear nail tips that are too small often? This is what it looks like, y'all. Okay, it's not cute. You'll have the nail. This is your client's nail, right? You see how this part in the middle, this part will be lifted up like the fingernail. It'll look like the free edge. This part is white. All this is white. This is pink, from your nail bed. So why do you think it looks like that?
Because it's separated? Like the white part separated from the nail?
It's separated, but why do you think it looks like that?
Oh, because the nail plate pinches?
Right. You put that tip on and you forced it down. You tried to make it fit instead of choosing one that actually fits. And something that is curved, when you flatten it out, it wants to pop back up, right? In the middle. So this part of the nail starts to be forced back up to the curve of that nail tip. And obviously, this is not very cute. We want our clients to want to wear nails, not have to wear nails. I know some of y'all feel like, I got to have my nails done, and your clients will be acting a fool. Oh, I can't go a day without my nails, right? But in this case, this is very unhealthy for the nail. And a lot of times, if it won't heal itself, if it stays up like that for a long period of time, it will generally not heal back down, okay? So, not to mention, stuff gets all up under there, and water, you get greenies, okay? Anybody know what a greenie is?
Fungus?
It is a form of fungus. However, funguses are contagious, right? Greenies come from mold, so it's just water that gets moisture that gets under there. So, and I've seen people with greenies on every finger just because of not properly prepping the nail, okay? So, we don't want that on your client's nails. So, securing the tips, we generally use glue, right? But again, there's gel and stuff out there now that people are using to adhere tips. I haven't done that in a long time. I'm gonna try it and just kind of see how it goes, since that's what everybody's doing now. Now, what's the difference between a nail enhancement and a nail extension? Break it down. Break it down.
The nail extension makes it longer.
Mm-hmm.
The enhancement makes it not thicker, but like.
Think about like, okay, so hair extension, right, makes the hair longer. But what if I just curl my natural hair and or straighten out my natural hair? That's working with what you got, right? So what would be a nail enhancement? Or what service would you consider a nail enhancement?
That, not 3D gel. The.
How about just a manicure on your natural nail?
Oh, that would consider it?
Yeah, just putting polish on it, just to make your natural nail, just to make it look better, right? So when we're not really or you could probably do like an overlay, right? An overlay on top of a natural nail, but we're not extending it. So that's the difference between a nail enhancement and a nail extension. Anytime you're extending it, that's an extension. Enhancement is just working with what you got. Now, that's an example of sculpting forms. You guys are going to learn about this next week. As far as forms are concerned. And then tips, obviously, those we glue on, right? Now, how do we prepare the nail? When do you do nail prep? When do you even do it?
At the start of the season.
Okay, but what services?
All of them.
All of them. All services need some type of nail prep, okay? Otherwise, and I don't know if y'all know this, but even when you do a regular manicure, you want to do nail prep. You want to push the cuticle back, etch the nail plate a little bit, but remove some of the shine, so that way the polish will stick better. But we didn't always have gel polish. You guys were born with it in your hands. But back in the day, when all we had was regular lacquer, I had no problems with my clients' nails chipping or the polish coming off their toes or fingers or whatever, because I did the same prep for my natural nails that I did for my acrylic nails and what have you. So, what do we do to prep the nails? What is the process? Because with acrylic, you may or may not do a wet manicure versus you might want to do a dry manicure. What is the process of preparing the nail? And these steps are very important. I get a lot of people come to me and ask me, can you help me? I don't understand why my nails aren't lasting. They keep lifting, or I'm having problems with them, popping off or breaking. And most of the time, they're forgetting the very first step that's up here. Wash them people's hands. Not just for, and why do we wash the hands? Not just for the simple fact that it's sanitation, right? We want their hands to be clean. I don't know where your hands been, but why else would you want to wash the hands? And why would that be important with prep?
To get any debris or anything that could be on the new growth.
That, but also, what about the hands themselves? Right? Your hands are oily, and your client, this is what your client's going to do, okay? They're going to sit down, and because they don't want to, you get a little ashy sometimes, right? And you don't want anybody to see that. So the first thing they do is they pull out their, girl, let me lotion up my hands real quick so you ain't got to worry about all this. And I'm like, nope, go wash your hands, get it off. Go wash your hands again, get it off. Why? Because you're holding the client's fingers the whole time you're doing their nails, right? And there's oil and debris on your fingers at that point, as well as the client's fingers. And there's skin around the nails, right? So you're dealing with all of that oil. You just get it off, okay? Remove as much oil as you can, okay? And the only way we remove oil is with what? Soap. It has to
soap and
be
water.
soap and water, right? The misconception is that alcohol and the primer and all that stuff removes oil. It does not. You can't, if you ever mixed oil and water, you know that the oil's going to still be there. It's not going to just go away. You have to add some type of detergent. Okay, so that's how we remove oil from, so you're going to want to have the client wash their hands. First and foremost, they should wash their hands anyway.
Right.
First thing you should do is send your client to the sink. Wash your hands. They might have just got back from eating, and then they're rubbing their hair, they're touching their face, and all these things can cause your client's nails to lift, okay? Now, the next step would be to push back the cuticles. Where does the cuticle reside? On the nail plate. Not the skin around the nails, okay? What is that called? Anybody know? The pre, the pra, the pro, the pre, the per, the per.
It's something for the peak. For peak. I don't know.
How about, let me help you out. Proximal
Proximal fold.
nail folds,
No.
right? The proximal nail folds. Proximal nail folds, is that living or is it dead? It's living tissue. Cuticle, however, is what? It's dried out dead skin. It has to be removed from the nail plate. If you do not remove it from the nail plate, you're going to have lifting. Acrylic does not stick to skin. It only sticks to the nail plate, okay? So, we push back the cuticles. Now, I don't like using the word push back, but it's something that, everybody says. You really don't, try not to push it back so far that you're up underneath that skin, right? Because you can cause pain and you can actually damage the client's nails if you enter into the matrix area. So removing the cuticle off of the nail plate is probably a better word. And there's several ways to do this, right? You can use a cuticle pusher. Some people use an e-file with a very, very fine diamond bit. Okay, you guys, if you are using a sanding band on your client's natural nail plates, and this goes for all of y'all. How many of y'all using a sanding band on your client's natural nail plates? None of y'all? Thank goodness. Okay. I question you as a nail technician and where you went to school. If you are using a sanding band on your client's natural nails, I know y'all haven't done the e-file chapter yet, but what do those numbers mean on the e-file? Seniors, what do those numbers mean on the e-file? And what is a RPM? Rotations per minute. So that's basically your speed, kind of like your miles per hour on your car, right? So if I say that my e-file is at a 1, the lowest number on the e-file, how many times is that thing spinning per minute? 1,000 times. Now, if you can hand file 1,000 times in a minute, which you probably could, but you'd be going pretty fast, right? What do you think would happen to the client's fingernail plate?
It would burn.
Oh man, it would burn, it would get thin, so there's absolutely, when your clients see, because you'll get clients that say this, I don't like to wear acrylic. Acrylic, it just ruined my nails. Y'all ever seen acrylic jump out of a pot and like punch a client in the face? I promise you the acrylic didn't do it to you. The nail tech did, okay? When you have clients that come to you and their nails are destroyed, it's not the product. Now the client, if they rip their nails off, that's one thing. But it's generally not the product that did it, okay? It's the person who applied it. And that's why we as nail technicians need to be very well trained on how to use these e-files and these bits and things of that nature. So sanding bands have no business on the natural nail plate. Okay, I don't care how fine it is. It don't do it. You can't turn your e-file down slow enough to preserve the natural nail. So
Oh, is that why they get the, what do they call it? The rings of fire?
Those rings when you look like, when your nail, if you, it looks like this when you take it off, take them off, because you can see the fill-in line for every time you've gotten a fill-in for the past, 4, 6, 8 weeks. That is because your nail tech don't know what the hell they're doing with that e-file, and they have no business holding it. Okay, and I know y'all go on Amazon and y'all buy these bit drills and e-files, and you just buy them. You don't even know what you can really hurt somebody and really destroy someone's nails. So you need to be careful. Someone just asked me, no sanding bands. No, sanding bands have a place in the nail world. They don't have a place on your natural nail. What would you use a sanding band for? Anybody know?
Like,
Because it's a file. It's a file on a little round barrel. It is an actual nail file, just like this. They just take, this is just paper that's stuck on here. They just take it and they do some, they wrap it around a little thing, a little cardboard, yeah, like a toilet paper roll, right? And there's places that you would use it. My favorite way to use sanding bands is on gel nails, okay? Because a very fine sanding band to take down, remove, or take down the bulk, okay? But sanding bands hold a lot of heat. This is 2025, y'all. We didn't used to have nothing but sanding bands. Now we have carbides, we have the ceramics, we have diamond bits, we have all these different types of bits. Like if you're using a sanding band, why is my question. Other than the fact that it's disposable and easy to throw, just throw it away and use a new one, right? But when I use a sanding band, I go through 3 or 4 of them with one client. And because you guys should not be reusing sanding bands on people. That's disgusting. It's like wearing somebody else's undies. Gross. So how do we remove the cuticle? We're either going to push it back, or you can use a very, very, very fine diamond bit, right, to push those remove the cuticle off of the nail plate. Please don't try to remove clients' cuticles with a sanding band. That is painful, number 1, and number 2 will destroy the client's nail bed.
I thought that removing it was easier too, because whenever I push it back, it goes under.
Up underneath the
the
proximal nail fold.
Acrylic on it sticks to
right.
it, and I like with this set, like I learned all that stuff after I did these, and that helped. That would help a lot.
Right.
Redo them.
Yeah. So and then also, once we finish going through all these different steps, it'll help you understand a better way to get rid of that cuticle off of that nail plate. So cuticle should easily be able to you should be able to push it back, and if it's still attached to the client's skin around the nail, it's probably not cuticle. It's probably still living tissue. I ask you guys all the time, like, okay, if it's still stuck and you feel the need to trim it, okay, then it's probably proximal nail fold. And my question to you is, how far back do you cut? When do you know when to stop cutting? What's the number? 1 millimeter? Half a millimeter? 2 millimeters? Because so which one of y'all sent me that, she on Friday class. Got me in trouble on TikTok day before yesterday. Y'all can send me stuff, but I try not to respond or say things, but sometimes I can't help myself. So it's a lady on TikTok. I don't know where I don't know if she's an instructor or not, but she calls herself TikTok University Nail School or something. And it's funny because I got sent the video by one of the students, and she didn't say nothing. She just sent it. So I was like, all right, let me click on it. I clicked on it, and the lady was teaching nail prep, and she was doing the steps and everything. I was with her until she brought out the little scissors, and she started cutting all this skin around. And there was this sweet little girl and on the comments, and she was like, am I supposed to do that? And so I was like, nope. Now I try not to get too deep into stuff, right? I was like, nope. She was like, I'm trying to learn nails on my own, and I'm afraid to cut the cut the skin. around around the nail. And I was like, and you should be. And she was like, why? And I was like, well, because it's beyond our what?
Scope of practice.
Scope of practice. None of y'all in here are surgical techs, far as I know, and even if you are, go cut on somebody in the operating room, not at this table. Because if you cut your client, because this is what's gonna happen. Nobody's gonna, generally people aren't just gonna be like, I'm gonna sue you or whatever, because you cut my proximal nail fold. But it could happen, right?
Especially
It could happen. Right, it could definitely happen, but nobody's gonna like arrest you for cutting the proximal nail fold. What's gonna happen is you're gonna get that one client that you cut the nail fold, you late and then you're gonna come in here disturbing my class. Cut the nail fold, and then they're gonna get an infection. And they're gonna see this YouTube video. By the way, I'm on YouTube if y'all wanna see what's going on. They're gonna get an infection. And they're going to see me, an instructor, somebody who's been doing this for 30-something years, telling y'all not to do it. And they're going to say, that girl cut she done gave me an infection. I'm going to sue her. She's going to take you to Judge Judy. And Judge Judy is going to call an expert witness to the stand. And it's going to be me. And they're going to say, she's going to say, Miss Negron, I know you've been doing this for a long time. I just want to know, is this okay for her to do? And I'm going to say, sorry, Giovanna. I'm so sorry. I told your ass not to do it, but you did it anyway. So now I got to tell on you. No, Judge, they're not supposed to do it. It's beyond their scope of practice. This is like somebody doing BBLs in a hotel room. Okay? You know you ain't supposed to be doing that. But you did it anyway. Why? Because you wanted your nails to look clean and cute and fresh for Instagram pictures. Right? Now you being sued for everything but your dirty drawers. And Judge Judy gonna say, well, boom, pay the lady. You want to risk that? All of y'all in here paying $6,000 to come to this school. That's pretty cheap. But y'all want to risk that? You want to risk losing your license, not to mention all your money, your house, your car, your man, all of that, over pretty nails for Instagram? Nah, it ain't worth it, because how do we soften the cuticle area or the skin around it without cutting it? Don't they make that? Cuticle oil? Because if none of y'all are selling cuticle oil in your nail salons by the time you leave here or retailing it, you are leaving money on the table. Every client should have a bottle of your cuticle oil that you made in your kitchen. There's recipes all over the internet. Because everybody should be oiling their nail. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I have the softest, most beautiful cuticles of life. Why? Because I oil them constantly. All the time. Not just lotion, cuticle oil. And if your clients do present with dry, crusty cuticles, then what you need to do? Tell them, listen, sis, listen. I know you want me to cut the skin, but I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to oil the hell out of them today, and then I'm going to sell you this cuticle oil for $10.99, whatever you charge for it, and I want you to put it on day and night. Before you go to bed, and when you wake up in the morning after you shower, put it on. Put it on your toes, too. If they do that for just 2 weeks, when they come back, you ain't going to have to cut nothing. You're not. Trust me. I'm telling you. If you have those types of clients, just do that. I promise you, it will change their life, okay? Now, once you push the cuticles back, we need to remove the shine from the nail. With what? Not a sanding band, right? What are we going to use? A buffer. Yes, a buffer. Now, we haven't talked about files and all that stuff yet, but I want to ask y'all, what do these numbers mean on these files? The grit. What is grit? Waffle House, cheese and grits. Grits and eggs. What is grit? How coarse or how fine, right? And you guys will see medium, coarse, fine on like buffers and stuff, but these numbers mean something. So, rule of thumb, just so you know, the lower the number, the coarser the file, correct. The higher the number, the finer the file. How coarse can we get with these nail files? Because this is 100 grit, so that means this one is what compared to this one? This one, coarser, very good. This one is coarser, and this one is finer than this one, right? But we have file. This one here is an 80 grit file, okay? And it looks like the concrete outside on the in front of the school, and it feels like it too. The only reason you would ever use an 80 grit file is to either remove polish or take down acrylic really, really quickly. Let's just say your E-file broke. Y'all ever had that happen? E-file break down on you while you're working? Woo, always have a backup, okay? But that you would have to hand file to cut down the client's nails, which would take, I mean, you're going to have some big muscles at the end of that day, okay? Now, they can go anywhere from, so don't use anything less than a 100 grit file on the natural nail plate if you're going to use it, on acrylic nails, and then on the natural nail plate, a 180. I would never use anything lower than a 180 on someone's natural nail plate, okay? Just to remove the shine, because this is almost like a buffer, a very fine buffer. Now, again, we're just trying to remove the shine. And why are we doing that? Why is removing the shine important? Say it now, say it loud, say it proud. Huh? Somebody was about to say it. Slick to slick does not stick. Okay? Anybody ever seen a car? See, back when I was younger, I had an old Chevy Caprice, an 89. Some of y'all don't even know what, y'all parents wasn't even born back then. But an 89 Chevy Caprice. And these are my hood days. They far, far behind me. Anyway, I had an 89 box Chevy Caprice. And one side of it was primed down. One of the doors was primed down, and the other ones was all painted all nice. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Primed down. It was like gray, no shine. Because I was intending on painting the car, but I never really got around to it. So one door was gray, the rest of the car was green. Right? Y'all know somebody that have a car like that right now. Okay? Might be your man. Who knows? But that primer, before you paint the car, is matte. It has a matte look to it. What does matte mean?
Like flat.
No shine. No shine at all. You know, we got our matte top coats and stuff, right? So why is that? Why would they put a paint on the car that is matte and has this, like, you know, texture to it versus something that's shiny before you paint it?
It'll stick better.
It'll adhere, but the paint will adhere better to that matte finish paint than it would a slick paint. So unless you want your paint to just wash off next time it rains, you need to use a primer, a paint that has a primer. So it's the same premise. You want to etch that nail a little bit, remove some of the shine so that your polish or whatever you're going to apply to the nail, be it gel or acrylic or press-ons, your Gel X, whatever, gel manicure, regular manicure, so it will stick and adhere better. All of this is so that our products will stay on the nail. Now, one of the things that a lot of nail techs skip over is this last step. Well, it's the next to the last step. And that's cleansing the nail plate. Because once you etch it, right? Once you take this buffer and you on the nail, what do you have on the nail? Y'all like my nail? They 2 weeks old. My toes like this too. Now that was hard. them little toes, trying to line around them toes is not easy. What do you have on the nail plate? Dust, right? But what is that dust? What is that dust? Because we say dust, but what is it really? It's your nail plate, right? It's just pieces. It could be some of the residual cuticle that maybe you didn't push back a little bit. Maybe it's still on there. So you got skin and nail plate dust all in the corners of your nail here, around the cuticle, all of that stuff, right? So a lot of nail techs will take that big fluffy brush. You know what I'm talking about? First of all, are you supposed to be using that on clients' hands?
No.
Why? How many of y'all got the big fluffy brush? Y'all got it. You don't want to tell me. But y'all got the big fluffy, big makeup, you know, the big puff makeup brushes. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Y'all got that. And you do this, don't you? Tell the truth.
Only on mine, though.
Only on yours. But why do you not want to use that?
Because it could be like cross-contamination.
Very good. You can't sanitize them. I've often wondered how makeup artists even...
They're supposed to have new brushes for every...
Right. Seems like you would, right? Because how do you really clean them? Like clean. Like sanitize, disinfect.
Yeah.
You can't soak a good MAC brush and sanitizer, disinfectant for 10 minutes. That thing eventually going to fall apart, isn't it? So I've often wondered how... I don't know. I mean, I was a makeup artist for years. All we ever used was just makeup cleaner, like the cleaner solution. Because I worked at the MAC counter. We had the pink brush cleaner. I'm like, what is in here? Nothing. Out soap and water. So you putting this on everybody's face in Augusta Mall. Anyhow, look, I did what I was told. Anyway, so... what do we use instead to remove that dust? What is the best or better option? A nylon nail brush. Or Anahi, hold up your nylon nail brush that's right in front of you. That. And why do we use that instead? It can be disinfected. It can be sanitized. It can be all of that stuff, right? And it's clean, and the bristles are harder, so you can kind of get in those grooves really, really good.
Yeah.
What are those big, fluffy makeup brushes actually for? Clean your desk. Yes, take that thing, and you pull your trash can out, and you do this right into the trash can, and that's it. And then sanitize your table, right? With sanitize wipes or spray. So, that is very important that we remove that dust and then we cleanse the nail plate. This part gets left off. Cleanse the nail plate with what?
Have a wash your hands again?
Nah, you ain't got to. You could. That would probably be a good option. But why do that when you can just take a little cotton ball or a lint-free wipe and some alcohol and cleanse all the residual dust and all the debris and all that off of the client's nail plate. These steps are usually left out, and it will help you with your preparation and your the longevity of your client's nails. Okay? Now, when we are doing a service like acrylic nails or gel, we're going to use Dehydrator and primer, right? Now, what is the difference?
The dehydrator takes moisture away from the nail plate, and the primer kind of, not makes it sticky, but it like preps the nail to bond with the acrylic.
It assists with adhesion, correct. So one of the things, a misconception is that Dehydrator removes oil, and that is not true. It don't remove oil. What does dehydrate mean? If you're dehydrated, it's not going to remove oil from your body. It's removing what?
Water and moisture.
Water and moisture, okay? So, if you, let's just say you did send your client to wash their hands. Now their nail plates are wet, right? So, it's kind of better to cleanse the nail plate with alcohol. And then when you go in with your dehydrator, that's going to remove. Okay, now, which one goes first?
The dehydrator.
Dehydrator goes first, y'all. And when you apply primer, and if you're doing sculpted nails, you can go ahead, put the primer on and then put your forms on. But when you're using tips, when do you apply the primer? Before or after you glue the tips on? Please do it after. Because if you try to glue tips down to a nail that has primer on it, it's probably not going to stick. Try it. Okay? I don't know. It's weird because primer is, it's like primer is supposed to help with adhesion, but glue don't like anything to come in between it and the nail plate and the tip. Okay? It's just one of those things. It's like, me and the nail plate, that's it. Okay? Nothing else. All right? So, everybody got that? All right. Now, let's talk about the different types of nail tips that are out there, because there's so many different types of nail tips. First of all, what are they made out of? What are nail tips made out of? Plastic. Okay? In particular, a plastic called acrylonitrile butadiene styrene, aka ABS plastic. Y'all ever seen that on a box of nail tips? ABS plastic tips? You probably never paid attention to it, right? But this brings me to how many of y'all using Gel X? No? Yeah. Yeah, you just tried it. I see your nails are beautiful, right? What do they market their nail tips as?
Like their gel tips?
Right. They call them soft gel tips. Why? Why?
Is that like a marketing?
It's 100% a marketing ploy. And this is for, I'm surprised at how many nail technicians, licensed ones, fall for it. They're like, oh no, these are gel tips. And I'm like, oh, that's right. You didn't go to my school. You went somewhere else. What is gel, y'all? An acrylate. And what are acrylates? They're plastics. What is acrylic, y'all? An acrylate. And what is acrylic if it's an acrylate? It's just a hard plastic. There's a lot of different types of acrylics out there. This container is made out of acrylic. A hard plastic. Not the same, maybe the same acrylic that you put on your nails, maybe a different type. But all your nails, whether they're acrylic, whether they are gel, they are plastic. It's just a hard one. Very hard one that kind of resembles concrete, right? Comes together, but they're still plastic. The tips that Gel X makes, they market them as soft gel, which is, guess what? Plastic. So they they just market theirs differently. Are they lying? No. They're misleading. They're not lying because it is soft gel. Because soft gel is plastic. Okay? They're just using a different word, right? And just try to make it sound better.
Yeah, because a lot of times whenever I see Gel X, they'll say it's healthier for your
Why?
nails.
But why though?
And that's why I never understood.
There is nothing that is healthy for... The best thing to do is leave them alone. That's what's healthier for your nails. However, if you're going to do enhancements or if you're going to extend your nails, the healthiest thing for your nails is a nail tech that knows what they're doing. Period. There's no product out here that's healthy for you. Can you eat it?
No.
I mean, is it going to help you lose weight? I mean, what you mean healthier nail product? They're all chemicals. At the end of the day, everything is a chemical, right?
After I read the first chapter and I went back to that same video, I was like, that don't make sense now.
None of it makes sense. But it's all marketing, right? It's all marketing. May the best marketer win. If y'all haven't read that book by Ming Lee, you should.
Is it the same thing as well, I know they're all plastic, but I don't know what it's called. It's like
Explain it
extra,
to me.
it's like, it reminds me of gel polish, and they just put it on.
Builder gel.
Builder gel, that's what it is.
Yep.
It's the same thing, right?
It is. It's gel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
just
plastic.
It's plastic.
And that's why I was like, because I saw, there was like, if you want healthier nail plates, you do builder gel, and on top of
Who said that?
this
Somebody
girl,
that's just saying sucks.
Yeah.
People love to hear themselves talk sometimes, and they don't be knowing what they're talking about.
because I was just scrolling, you know how like after you go to school,
This will be the
everything-
same people that will tell you that putting builder gel is healthier for your nails, and they will, with them same nails. I got dinged yesterday for saying that. They were like promoting tobacco use. I was like, what? These be the same people that are 600 pounds and drink alcohol all day long. You know, talking about this is healthier for your nails. Girl, get out of here. What you talking about? I can't even take you seriously. Anyhow, so nail tips provide length and support. I know that you've probably run into some really cheap nail tips before that were really, really thick. I hate those really, really thick nail tips because you really just need that nail tip as a shape for you to lay your acrylic on top of, right? And then we're going to overlay that acrylic on top of the tips, okay? Now, there's a part of a lot of nail tips that you need to be aware of and know the name of it for state board purposes. And also when you're buying tips, you may prefer tips that have a well on them. What is the well? What is the well of a nail tip?
that thinner piece.
That little thinner piece right there that looks kind of, it's like a little couple of millimeters from where the contact point, right? That's where you're going to apply your nail adhesive usually, and it's called a position stop, right? How far back do you apply that tip? But not all tips have this feature, right? There are tips out there that do not have wells on them. So here are 3 different types of nail tips, okay? You need to first of all, know the names of these, again, for state board purposes. Nobody's going around and asking you, hey, Brianna, can you put those full well tips on me? No, I don't like a well. Give me the no well tips, right? Nobody's going to ask you for that. But you will be asked about this more than likely on your state board. So which one of these tips that are up here is a full well tip? The first one, the middle one, or the third one? The middle one. And why do we call it a full well tip? Because if y'all ever use these type of tips? The full well tips, they almost kind of cover the entire nail, right? So do not get them confused with a full coverage tip. What's a full coverage tip? That's going to be like your press-ons, your Gel-X, it covers the entire nail, okay? A full well tip usually goes about halfway down the nail, depending on the size of your client's nail bed. Some of y'all nail beds are so tiny, it covers the entire nail too. But the full well tip, why do you think they're made that way? What's the purpose of it? Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. I can tell you this. I really, really love full well tips when I have a client that has a lot of damage to their nail. Why? Because you're going to have more coverage of the tip when you adhere the glue to it. Okay, it's going to cover the nail, and cover up all that damage. Okay. Now you do have to do a lot of blending with these tips. And why would you need to blend it? First of all, we want our nails to be made of acrylic, not a bunch of plastic and glue, okay? It just leaves for better, it's just going to make them stronger. Obviously, the acrylic is stronger than the tip alone, okay? Now, you need to learn how to use these tips. Why? Why, y'all? Why they need to learn how to use these tips? But what's the really important reason why?
It's faster.
You got to use these tips where?
Oh, at state board.
At the state board. If you go up in there with a half well tip or a no well tip or a full coverage tip and you go in there to do your nail tip with blending, they are going to fail you. Shout outs to Jennifer and Esperanza. They both passed their practicals. They are now licensed nail technicians. Woo! And how about this? Let me tell y'all a little story real quick. So they were there at the state board together. They just happened to book their test on the same day. And there was 6 other people there. It was 6 total, with them 2 and 4 others from other schools. They're the only 2 that passed.
Oh, wow.
And one of them had taken it 3 times and failed again. A guy who currently works in a nail salon. Okay? An Asian guy. Failed it 3 times. And the whole time, Esperanza, because I don't know if any of y'all ever met Esperanza? Mm-hmm. Y'all know Esperanza, right?
Yeah.
She tells me the story. She's like, I'm just looking at him, and I wanted to tell him so bad everything he was doing wrong. First of all, he had a Tupperware container of for his trash and all his stuff and everything, trash and Tupperware container.
So his school must don't.
I don't know what he didn't go to school. He did an apprenticeship.
Oh.
These are the people that come to me, the ones that do these apprenticeships, and they are really only apprenticing you so they can have a warm body in the chair to do nails. You know what I'm saying? Then they're like, I got to take my test now. I don't know nothing, none of it. Right? Oh, well, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. You're going to have to come take my course. But he had failed it for the 3rd time. The whole time he had his Tupperware container wide ass open. Wide open. Why? And y'all know why you ain't supposed to do that, right? Y'all did the state board practice. Got to keep his Tupperware container was supposed to be his bag, like the black bag that we use when we do our state board, right? Wide open, never closed it. Just dust flying everywhere. I'm sure he probably didn't even have full well tips when he did his tip with blending. He was clueless, right? That state board is so important for you guys to be able to pass it, because if you don't, why did you come to school, right? So you got to have that full well tip at state board. Which one of these is a partial well tip? Yes, the last one, okay? Partial well, or sometimes it's called a half well, all right? Which one is well-less? The first one, no well at all. And then, of course, we know what full coverage tips are, right? Our Gel-X. And then a French tip, y'all ever seen like the white tips, or maybe they're red or pink or whatever, they're colored French tips. Now, back in the 90s, those were great to use, right? Because we wore our French smile lines, they were kind of depressed. They wasn't smiling like y'all smile lines nowadays. They on drugs. They are on happy medicine. They just like way down at the cuticle area starting. Whoop. Right? So they don't really make tips with those deep smile lines like you guys like them, right? Now, I will tell you this. I like to use them for, they do have a purpose if you're going to buy them, okay? I like to use them if I'm doing like an ombre. All right, you can go ahead. That way you can just have that white tip, and then you turn around and put your little white right there at the smile line area and blend it, and boom, put your pink on the back and keep it moving, right? Or if you're doing a colored ombre, it will help with that if you don't necessarily have the colored acrylic that you need, right? So they have their uses. However, I will tell you this. I am a sculptor. I sculpt. I didn't even give my clients the option. What you don't want to have is 50 million tips, like boxes of tips. It's kind of annoying when you're trying to dig. You don't really need that. If you're going to buy tips or use tips, and just get really good at shaping, and just buy the long square tips and cut those things into the shape you need them. I mean, yeah, they got them nowadays, but you guys spend your money on what? What do I always say?
Glitter.
Spend your money on glitter, baby. Don't be spending your money on all these products. You don't need them. You don't need matte top coat, really. How do you matte a nail after you're done with it? Top coat it with regular clear top coat, right? And then what do you do to it? Buff it. You can buff it and make it matte. You can do that. It's so many different ways you can do these different techniques without having all these different products. You ain't got to buy blooming gel. What is blooming gel? Top coat. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't got to buy what's that? Chrome gel, chroming gel. Chrome what? You ain't got to buy all of that, right? If you want to, what did I do to get this chrome on my nails? I mixed my non-white bling bond with a little bit of black polish, and then put it on my nails, and then chromed on top of it. You don't have to have all these different products, but y'all spend y'all money how y'all want to. It's just, I feel like she's using gel there. Now how do we apply tips? We're not just gonna just smack them on there, are we? How do we apply nail tips? What's the best way to do it?
I'm scared because I feel like I'm doing it.
Well, it's all right if you are. You want to that after today. And I see this all the time. People just kind of put a dab of glue on the nail and then press the tip on, right? You're taking a risk there, kind of, sort of. If you don't have enough glue underneath the nail tip, then you end up with what? And why do you have the lifting? It could be an air pocket under there. Like you need to have glue completely on that contact point, all over. Okay. If you don't have enough glue, then you'll end up with like a lifted spot, like right here. Okay. Or anywhere. Right. So I prefer to put the glue on the tip here. Just enough, not to where it's dripping out. Too much glue can be a problem too. And then you're going to rock the nail tip front. You're supposed to go to that position stop and then press it down like so until it completely adheres. Okay. Now, if you do end up with a little air pocket, or maybe you didn't have enough in it, or there's a spot where it's kind of lifted, what do you need to do? And this is, again, very important, especially for state board. What do you need to do?
Cut it off.
Well, you need to add more glue.
Oh, that too.
Take you a little. She's like, yeah, that too. Let me get a little glue here so I can kind of show you what I mean. So you would take your glue. This one's not open. Okay. You would take your glue. If I had a little air pocket here, I would take my glue while it's stuck on the nail and just kind of add a little bit. It will naturally kind of suck down in there. Just kind of, y'all know what I'm saying? If you just push it a little bit, it'll just flow down in there. Okay? And that's important because at state board, you have to do 5 different techniques. Anybody want to tell me what's the first one?
The manicure.
Manicure, right? What's the next one?
The blend.
Applying the tip and doing what to it?
Blending.
Nail tip with blending. Then you have to do what else? Sculpt the nail. And then what else? Remove that sculpted nail by soaking it off. And then the last thing is what? The blood exposure procedure, okay? They didn't ask you to do an acrylic flower. They don't care about sculpting doing a stiletto nail. They don't care about none of that, right? All they care about is these important things. So you have to apply a full well tip, and I know these look funny, don't they? What is the purpose of that little dip in there? Anybody know? To help it fit better, right? So sometimes those full well tips, bless you. If this whole well right here is completely plastic, when you put it on, it's not going to spread to fit the nail, all right? So a little tip for you guys. If you guys ever have a tip that doesn't fit, you get that one client with them extra large thumbs, okay? And your tip does not fit, you can cut a little notch out, like a little triangle notch. This one's round and cute, but just a little triangle notch in it. And what is that going to help the nail tip do? Spread from edge to edge, from sidewall to sidewall. For instance, let's just say you got a 5 and it's too big and a 4 is too small. Take that 4, cut a little notch in it, and you got a 4.5. It's like when your pants too tight. You cut that side out, cut it out. You know what I'm talking about? That muffin top thing that you have right there. You just take a little, cut it, and now your pants fit. Okay? Same thing with the tip. So that's what that little notch in there is for. All right. Now, if you do leave an air pocket there, what is going to happen when you go to file this nail? What's going to happen when you go, because you got to blend all of this away. It's got to be completely gone. What's going to happen if you've got an air pocket? Seniors, anybody?
It's gonna come up.
It's going to be a hole there. It's going to be a hole right there when you go to file it. It's just a divot. And it's not going to be smooth. Because at State Board, they want you to blend this nail so that it looks like the client grew it out of from their own hand. Okay? So, and I'm going to demonstrate that in a few minutes. Okay? So.
Oh, I do have a question.
Yes.
When you, do you have to, I know like usually we're supposed to prep the nail plate before we put the tip on, but do we prep the tip? Like, do we have to sand down that space to adhere it to? No?
You shouldn't have to do that with if you're gluing it down. You shouldn't have to do that.
Oh, okay.
Now, I know you're probably thinking like with Gel X, they want you to like etch the inside and do all that stuff. You really don't even have to do that either. Like, I don't even know why they make you do that stuff. But no, you don't have to do that. If your tips are not adhering, there is a little tip that I can give you. A tip for your tips, okay? Glue dryer spray. That stuff that's in the can that some of y'all are doing it backwards, right? You go and you try to glue your nail tip on. Usually your glue's old if the glue is not sticking well. Or it's too cold in the room, right? But if it's not sticking well, what you can do is take your glue dryer spray, put a little spray of it on the hand first. Then take your glue, put it in the tip, and apply. It's going to stick instantly. Some of y'all do it backwards. You glue it on, you're like, oh, it's not sticking. And then you have your client, I'm going to hold it, and you spray the net. Why are you spraying on top of the tip? I mean, you're just trying to make it stick, the glue, right, to dry. So you want to put it on the nail plate first and then put it on. It just works a whole lot better that way. Okay? Now, but no, to answer your question, no, you do not have to do any etching. How would you do it? You could have to have an e-file to even get in there with a sanding band. Like, we're doing it with a hand file. You will not be having any e-files at your State Board. The things that you think are the most important things, like, oh, they should test me on how to do a gel manicure. Nope. They should teach you, they should be testing to see how I know how to use an e-file. Nope. What is the purpose of State Board, ladies? What do they want to know that you know? Sanitation. 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 The quickest way to fail that State Board is by not sanitizing. If you don't sanitize your hands after every single thing you do, you're going to fail it. They don't care how good your manicure looked. They don't care how good you blended that tip and sculpted that nail, soaked it off. They don't care. If you don't sanitize your hands, you fail. Scratch your face and not sanitize your hands and see if you don't get points deducted. They don't care about your nail tip. None of it. And that's kind of weird. It's like, But at the end of the day, you're only tapping into 600 hours of your nail career. How many hours does it take to become a master of a craft? Any craft? 10,000. This is a proven fact. 10,000 hours. And I don't mean 10,000 hours of just doing nails like maybe you do pedicures. That's like, you done like 1,000 hours of that, and you done 1,000 hours of sculpting, and you want to call yourself a master nail tech. No, I mean 10,000 hours of just sculpting. If you think you're a master sculptor, if you haven't tapped into 10,000 hours at least of it, then you're probably lying. Okay? And so they know that you just tapped into 600 of your 10,000 hours. They know you're not the best nail tech in the world. You will be surprised how many of what these nails look like at State Board that pass. I'm like, that sculpted nail was horrible. But guess what? She cleaned her hands. She threw her trash in the trash can and didn't leave it on the table. Right? She put her soiled linens in the soiled linen container and not in the to be disinfected. You know what I'm saying? So because when you are in a nail salon, I mean, I know our little school is humble. It's a humble little school, right in smack dab in the middle of the hood. But guess what? It's clean in the sense of where are the 4 places that every single thing in this school is supposed to be? There's no in between. Where, ladies? It's either trash, it's either clean linens or soiled linens, right? It's either clean implements or dirty implements. There's no in between. If the state board walks in here right now and they open up these drawers, which I hope and pray there ain't none of this in y'all's drawers. If they just see a nipper just laying in there, it's not in a box that's labeled what?
Implement.
Clean
Or dirty.
or dirty. If it's just laying in there, that's a fine. When I used to work in a nail salon, I worked in a salon. I was the only nail tech, but the lady who owned it, she was a hairstylist. And this is when I first, I didn't have my own place. I just had a little room in there or whatever. And I remember one morning she came in my little room and she was like, "You left trash in your trash can last night." I was like, "Calm down."
Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
She was like, "You supposed to empty it out every day." And I was like, "Okay, my bad." And then I got my first salon. State board, they come through. And I saw and I'll show you guys the paper. There's certain things that they look for. And if you have those things or don't do those things, it's a $50 fine the first time. Then they come back and check again. Next time it's a $100 fine. And the third time it's a $300 fine.
Dang, they said you don't learn.
They are going, and then if you keep on doing it, they just gonna keep on fining you and getting all your money. Okay? Y'all wonder, I'm like, how do these salons stay open? They just keep paying the fines. They got the money. They just pay them. Okay? But I don't want to pay no money to the state. I already give this government enough of my money. Okay? So with that being said, I had my own place. I realized why she got upset. There's 15 trash cans in her salon. It's per trash can. Why y'all think I get on y'all every single day when y'all get ready to leave? Make sure you empty your trash can. You think I got time to go and lift up 25 trash cans? I ain't got time to do that. But guess what? The state board does. They gonna show up here. They don't show up at 11 or 12. They know you've been working. They know you got trash in your trash can. They show up. If we open at 10, they here at 9:30. Standing at the door like this. Hello, Miss Negron. We're here to do your annual inspection. That's why when I see their little car, because they have a white car with the state Georgia state symbol on it. When I see that sitting out there, I sneak in the back and then I come and check to make sure y'all threw y'all's trash out. Because it's $25 fine, $50 fine every time for each can. So just know if the state board shows up and you got trash in your trash can, I'm going to rewind the tape, see who was sitting there. I'm going to put it on your invoice. So I'm not paying it. Okay? So, where did we get to? Okay, so applying the nail tips. Let's get back to it. So, we need to make sure it fits from where to where.
Sidewall to sidewall.
Sidewall to sidewall. If it does not fit properly, I'd rather you pick a tip that's too big and then finesse it a little bit. Take your file and file the sides off. What you need, baby? Yeah.
Oh, I'll just
Is those ones you need?
No, it's like smaller ones. Thank you.
Sidewall to sidewall. I'd rather you use a bigger one and size it, like kind of file it a little bit than one that's too small, because you don't want to end up with this problem. And it's painful. You ever squoze a nail tip on your finger? Woo, it's painful. It's painful. It does not feel good, and you will you'll end up taking it off. You can't wear it for 2 weeks. It's just too hard. Now, once we apply the tip, we need to cut and shape the tip. Okay? And these cutters are great, but nowadays, these cutters don't even fit on these nail tips. Like, if you've got those deep C-curve tips, you can't get those cutters on there to cut them. And then, I just use scissors. Just use scissors to cut the tips. Okay, that's just my advice. Now, someone was on my live yesterday saying that they use the magnets. That's fine. My only question to you is, do you sanitize those magnets every time you use them? Probably not. A little nasty. Probably not. Okay, because you're shoving that up underneath somebody's fingernail. Yeah, and you're putting it on their skin. You should be sanitizing that. And I don't even know how you get them things apart to sanitize them, right? Properly. So that, I guess that works, but not everybody's, the tip of the nail sometimes is a different shape than other. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't put that magnet on a pinky finger and get the same length on the thumb. We got 4 magnets on there. Y'all seen the magnet technique? How they use it? They put the magnets on there.
I did that.
If you do that on the pinky, your pinky's gonna be extra long and your thumb's gonna be extra short, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a better way to do it when it comes to length. First of all, I like to use things that can be thrown away and disposed of. Okay. The only fingers that you're really gonna get the same length by doing that technique is these 3,
Yeah.
right? Because they're generally about the same size.
And even then it depends, because I always somehow
Even
make
then
my
it
middle finger
depends.
shorter
I
than-
just eyeball these 2. I make sure these 3 are the same length, and then I eyeball these because, again, if you do the same length on these 3 fingers, it's the same length, right? But it don't look like it. It's a visual.
Right.
Like it kind of messes your head up a little bit because you are actually making them the same length, but this finger is bigger and wider.
Right.
Someone who's short and fat can be the same height as someone who's skinny, right? Same exact height, but the short fat person looks shorter than the skinny person, right? Because it's all like depth of your vision, right? It's just the way it looks. I don't even know how to explain it, but you know what I mean, right? So I like to use, instead of the magnets, I like to use a nail form, right? And what I do is I'll take, which she just took my scissors. I don't even know if I can cut this. Let's see. Just go ahead and like trim this back part off. Excuse me. Up to the little, this little piece that you pull off, right? Up to that, right? And then you would take it like this and ask your client underneath the tip, right? My nails are already short. So let's say I was like, okay, I want mine to the small, to the S. And then I would just cut the tip right there to the S, right? These scissors are the glue scissors, y'all. I can't even cut it. Cut it to the S, right? And then do the same. And then when I put this up against here, look at there. Mine are all the same length, right? And then you would cut the tip to there, cut the tip to there. See that? But look at there. The pinky's smaller. So I would have to cut the pinky shorter. The thumb. This one just, now, to be honest with y'all, I don't know if y'all can tell, but I broke this one a little bit. I bent it and I had to file it. But look on this finger. It's a little bit, a hair longer, like a hair longer. But that pinky, if I was to cut it the same as everybody else, it would look much longer, wouldn't it? But it's not really. So you got to make your pinky, whatever length you're going to cut your tip, make it a little shorter and then make the thumb a little longer than these 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, this is why I don't like tips. Because you got to do all that. And then your client goes like this and they're like, this one's shorter than that one. And then you're like, oh, now what do I do? What do you do? Now you got to make the rest of them shorter. And then they're like, but I wanted them longer. You know what I mean? With
You gotta sculpt it.
with sculpted nails, right? With sculpted nails, you eliminate all those problems because there's lines on there, guidelines, and all that good stuff. Now,
Would you do the same process even with sculpting, like making the pinky a little shorter?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely, and you got those guidelines already there to help you.
Right.
Okay. Again, you kind of get an eye for these things. You don't even really pay attention.
No, but
I
that
don't
makes so
even really.
much sense because I was looking at my nails and I'm like, my pinky do look
much
Longer
longer than the
than
rest of them.
everything
And you
else.
probably, exact same tip. Let's just
Yeah.
say you didn't cut the tips at all. But let's just
They
say you
look
didn't cut them
longer.
at all. You just glued them on and then laid your acrylic. You're like, damn, this pinky long as hell.
Right.
And my thumb looks shorter than the rest of them.
Right.
It's just, it's a visual thing, right? So, question. Do you shape the nails first? Cut them, shape them, the tip? Or do you blend them first and then cut and shape them?
Are you supposed to cut and shape them first?
Please cut and shape them first. Because if I just glue this nail on, and this always happens, I teach y'all how to do this. We do the nail tip with blending part of this course, and then when I do the demonstration, and then you guys do it. It's always somebody that comes up here and shows me the nail long as hell like this. They blended it, but they didn't cut and shape it, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna need you to go back and cut and shape those nails, make them shorter, okay? Short little square, make your life easy. And then they go to cut it, and what happens?
It pops up.
This part right here is now weak. The well area is weak because you blended it. So when you go to cut it short, it's gonna crack or break, or so you need to cut it, shape, and then when you go to file it, it might pop completely off, right? So you want to cut, shape it, file it into the shape you want first, and then reduce the well area, or blend the well area. Okay. So what is even the purpose of blending the nail tip? Blending it. Because I've had, and especially on TikTok, because everybody on here thinks they know everything about everything. I don't even know everything about everything, right? They're like, well, I've never blended my tips. I don't have no problems with my nails popping off or lip. How do you know that? You mean your client has never broke a nail? Ever? You've been doing nails all these years and nobody's ever broken a nail? Lies. Okay. How do you know that nail didn't break because you didn't blend the tip? Think about it. If you drop let's say you drop a coffee mug on the floor and the handle breaks off. It's your favorite mug now. Your granddaddy gave it to you. Man gave it to you, whoever. You want to keep the mug, what do? You glue it back, right? Well, if you drop that mug again, chances are it's probably going to break in the same spot where that glue, it might even just pop off right there in the same spot, because that area is the weak point, okay? Now, I'm not telling you to go test this out, but it's probably more than likely going to break at the weakest point. Well, the weakest point of this nail tip, where I glue it, is where the glue is, okay? Because slick to slick does not stick. So especially when you're doing gel nails, if you just glue this tip on and then apply gel on top of it without blending it, what's going to happen? You ever had your gel just peel right off? Just peel off of the tip completely in one piece? Because you didn't etch it. Slick to slick does not stick. So we want our nail tips to just help us with the shaping of our acrylic when we overlay it with the acrylic. That's why sculpted nails tend to be stronger and last longer than tips, because they're 100% acrylic. There's no plastic, there's no glue, there's none of these factors contributing to how that nail, the weak point is. There's no weak point if you properly sculpt it properly, and we're going to get to that in a second. Okay, so blend your tips. It's important, okay? And when you use a half well tip, it's very hard to blend the tip. Very hard, but it still needs to be blended. You don't want to have any gaps, you don't want any gaps or anything there. It needs to look as if the client grew that nail out, okay? Now, we already talked about this part. Now, there's lots of different nail shapes out there. Tons of different ones. What are some shapes that you know of that are not up here?
Lipstick.
Yep. What about you? Ugh. Actually, the way some of y'all wear your ducks, I like. Okay. But I'm talking about those nail tips that do this, they like this, them duck nails that are like this, I can't get with it. I'm sorry. If they just little duckies, like they like, like some of y'all who got duck nails on right now, kind of ducky. Some of the ones that y'all wear sometimes they're really cute. Those little kind of flared out duckies. I don't even like to call them duck. I just call them flare, because the true duck feet are
It'd be
wild.
like,
Yeah, I don't think that's not cute on anybody. I'm sorry, but I digress. I don't want to get beat up. So when it comes to nail shapes, this is nothing, y'all. This is what you can probably do with a tip. When you start getting into sculpting and you see these exotic nail shapes like Gothic almonds, the edge nails, ones that look like blades, and you got these butterfly wing shaped nail, like
they have a T-Rex looking one.
I seen that. That's weird.
I thought it was cute. But
The ones that look like actual claws.
Yeah.
You can't sculpt that. You cannot sculpt nails that have a curve that dips down past the nail. Like
So they probably use like.
it's a piece of paper. Like she used a tip probably with that. But there's the possibilities are endless when you guys go to these nail shows. Or to these nail competitions, there's some competitions they hold where they're like, create your own nail shape, and you can win money to create a shape that nobody's seen before or worn before. So possibilities are endless when it comes to sculpting, but tips not so much. I don't know what happened to my picture here. Those are supposed to be fingernails, but anyway. So the most common nail shapes, though, are going to be your square, your round, your almond. Squoval is not a nail shape, y'all.
What is Squoval?
Squoval is what your nails look like after wearing them for 2 weeks. And when they were square, and then the edges kind of
and then they like
get rounded. And you will have clients. I mean, I was back in the 90s, girl, I wore my squoval nails too. But if anybody who's ever been to school in geometry, there's no such shape as squoval. Okay? And to me, it just looks like old nails. They look like old square nails. And that's not cute. I literally tell my clients no. Okay? No. In a day or two, your nails will be squoval. Okay? Calm down. No, we're not doing that.
That's how I feel about stiletto when they like round.
They turn into almonds. They turn into almonds. Stilettos generally do. But stiletto, lipstick, coffin, these are all your common nail shapes that you will see. I call them salon style nail shapes, okay? Your typical salon style. Now, this is very important. This particular part of this course, this class. What are the characteristics of a well-structured nail enhancement? You gotta have certain things in order for them to last and not break or have what we call product breakdown or break completely, okay? I know you've heard the word apex, right? Well, what in the hell is the apex? What is it? What does that word mean? The highest point of anything. Like, for instance, like when you're watching a movie and you're like, damn, this movie started off real boring and then it got good, like right in the middle, like the climax, right? So it's the same thing on a nail. It's the highest point of your nail, okay? Now, the apex, also known as the arch, okay, you might hear that word as well, is very important, but... And you guys, I had this one student, if she said apex one more time, I was going to literally kick her out of this class. Every time she did a nail, she was like, how do my apexes look? Is my apex in the right place? Is it too high? Is it there at all? And I'm like, girl, stop focusing so much on apexes. First of all, if your all nails have it, even your natural nail, unless you have like those really swooped up nails or really flat nails. Some people have really flat nail beds, but and those people usually have problems growing their natural nails out. If you're one of those people who has weird shaped nails, and you know what I'm talking about, your nails, maybe they swoop up or they curve down or they just break a lot. You're one of those people that wears nails most likely. Okay? But where does the apex go? Because this is, one thing I will say about the Russians, not Putin, okay? But the Russians, they got these nail shapes, sculpting and all that. They got it down, okay? This is a mathematical equation, okay? And so you guys, y'all all know this already? This, where the apex goes? Yeah. Right? Okay, so I just want to make sure, because some of y'all, I know y'all don't know. Look at your nails. Okay. All right. All right. There's my finger, right? So, my natural nail. Here's my little natural nail, right? On any nail that we extend, like I said, there is a mathematical equation. We're going to put our tip on. Let's just say I put the tip on and I brought my nail. This is the long nail, right? And we haven't cut it yet. Just want to, or this, excuse me, we cut it already. Where does the apex go? Where? At what point? What point?
Like the middle?
The middle. Is it always the middle?
No.
What if I do a nail? What if the nail is like, what do they call y'all, extendos? What if it's really, really long? It goes in the middle?
No.
What if it's really, really short? Like, what if it's right here? It goes right, I need to have a bump right here, like a speed bump right there? Huh? So it's not, it's somewhere in the middle, but it's, like I said, a mathematical equation. So what we're going to do is we're going to visually, please don't pull out a ruler, okay? Could. But we're going to break this nail into 3 parts. 3. Equal parts. Equal parts. So, and I'm eyeballing this and I'm sitting really, really close. So it may be, don't talk about me. I can't see that either. All right. Break it into 3 parts. We're going to say here and about here. Okay, to break this nail into 3 parts. The apex goes where? Now he said, like I know where that is. It goes on the very end of the back third, okay, or the beginning of the middle, or okay, but I just like to say the back third of the nail, furthest away from the cuticle. So that means it goes here. Is that the middle, Giovanna? No. And why? Because if you did it here, that means my highest point will go way up. That's kind of big. That's way far out on this length. Okay, speed bump. So that means my movie started out boring right here. And then it went, whoo, and this is the highest point. And then the movie stayed good the whole time. Woo. Don't that look good?
So that doesn't count as
This
the
is
middle?
the apex. Well, that's the middle.
Oh, I meant the middle of the natural nail.
But that ain't the middle. This is the beginning of the end.
That's the one with it.
This is the first third, second third.
Oh,
third
okay,
third.
okay, yeah. Okay,
First, second, third. The end of the first third.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
Okay, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, I get it now.
So it goes there. Don't that look good? Compared to,
All the way up there, right.
that's a little far out. Okay, now, this changes with every nail length. It's going to change every time. Okay? So, for instance, if your client says, I want my nails this long. Where does the apex go? Come on up here, Giovanna. Come on. Go around. Why is Fabby sitting on the other side of the table? Oh, you got fit. You scrolled through there, girl. I didn't even know. You know there was a gap right there. Okay. Draw your thirds. Sorry, let me move all my stuff. Just eyeball it. Don't have to be perfect. Okay. That moved a little far out. Yeah. There you go. That's about it. Yeah. Now, where does your apex go? Okay. Now draw it. And then no, yes, cool. And then straight out. Boom. So our apex, if you can see the green line, was here on the shorter nail.
Right.
The longer nail, the apex is further out. Make sense?
It makes sense. I feel like I just did it.
No, you didn't do it wrong. You did it absolutely right. Now, and again, we're not trying to do like, it's not like we're getting paid extra money to make sure it's in the right spot. I mean, we want to make it look good, right? All right, Elise. If my client said she wants a little short nail right here. Come on up here. It's your first day. We got to put you out there. Where does my apex go on a nail this short? Break it up into 3 parts. Oh, she's left-handed. Lefty's losing it. Y'all watch that on YouTube? Right there. There you go. Excellent. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Don't that look good? Now, here's the problem that I saw this on TikTok the other day. No, Facebook. It was in one of the Facebook groups. I hate Facebook groups. It's always some dummy asking, where's the best place to get my nails done in Augusta, right? Them groups, you know what I'm talking about? Who's the best nail tech in Statesboro? Arumi. All right. And they say, so this is what I saw on there. The lady was like, y'all recommended it. I went to this salon and they charged me extra for a cut down. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. And I was like, man, she ain't no nail tech. She don't know what she talking about. Why do we charge for cut downs? Because they say, all you got to do is just cut it down, make it shorter. Why do we charge for cut down?
Because then it changes the structure.
Is it simply just making the nail shorter? Okay, here's another question. Why do y'all charge less money for a fill-in than you do for a full set? And you be wondering why. Like me, I charge a full set is the same as a fill-in. Same price. Why?
Because you still got to do the same amount of work.
You got to do more work. A fill-in should be more, if you ask me. Okay, here, let me make sense to you real quick. So you charge, let's just do a round number. You charge $100 for a full set. Okay? That means each nail costs how much? Simple math. $10 a nail, right? Well, 9 times out of 10, your client's going to have a broken nail, maybe. Sometimes 2, maybe 3. So your fill-in, let's just say you charge $60 for a fill-in, right? Because this is about the, like they'll say, okay, a full set is $50, fill-in is $25, $30, right? So we're just going to do nice round numbers. $100, $60 for a fill-in. Well, that means that if they come in with, let's just say 2 broken nails, and they may not come in with no broken nails, but that's not even the point, okay? Well, let's just say they come in with 2 broken nails. Both of those nails cost $10 a piece, right? So your $60 fill-in should be how much?
80. Well, for the whole thing, right?
60, 70, 80, right? $80. And then they didn't wait 2 weeks. They waited a month. They should have had 2 fill. So they saved themselves. They called themselves. That's why they got 2 broke nails. They called themselves saving $60 by not coming every 2 weeks like they're supposed to, and they came 4 weeks later. So now your 2-week fill-in that should have looked like this, right? It should have been 2 weeks. Is now I got to fill in all of that. So that means more acrylic that I got to use, more of my product. Not to mention, this is probably lifting a little bit here, a little bit there. Sis's nails now, because most people's nails don't grow straight, now her nail is curving like this. So that means when I cut it down, I got to cut this, and then I got to straighten this out. It's more work. So your $60 fill-in went to $80, but then you waited 4 weeks. See, I used to charge. See, that's why my clients always maintain their nails every 2 weeks, because I would charge you extra for waiting. An extra $10. It's an extra $10 for me to have to use more of my product. Doesn't that make sense? If you go to a cake baker and you say, I want a 1-tier cake. No, I changed my mind. I want 3 tiers. They're not going to charge you more? Y'all start paying yourself what you are worth. Don't let these clients tell you it's just a cut down, because it's not just a cut down. It's more than that. Watch this. So my apex, when I first did your nails, was here, right? My apex was here. Well, now your nails grew out, and this have been shoved all the way to here, right? So when I fill in your nails, I cut you down. Now you said I want them down to here. Is that the right place for the apex? Mm-hmm. Nope. Now I've got to file all of this down, make it lower, bring the apex back, shove it back, and then this part of the nail, remember, the apex grew up, right? So that means this part of the nail that's supposed to be the tip where it's supposed to be thinner is now, when I cut it down, where the apex used to be, so it's a chunk. It's thick right there. So now I got to take my E-file and I got to drill all under there to make it thinner, to make it look right, or you're going to be looking at me like, why do my nails look like bricks? So it's not just a fill-in, ma'am. It's a cut down. Yes, you got to pay for a cut down. How about get your nails the length you want them, and as they grow, take them out, get a new set if that's the case. That's why I love the Gel-X nails. You can just soak them off and put the same length right back on. And it takes 5 minutes to soak them off if you do it properly, right? So these clients have no clue. They don't do that. That's like telling a brain surgery. It's just brain surgery. All you got to do is just cut my head open and just pick at my brain. What you know about it? Stupid. Sorry, you clients get on my nerves sometimes. But this is why you train your client. If you teach somebody something, they will love you for it. That's why teachers all of us love our teachers, especially if it was a subject that we really liked. Because when you teach someone, then they're going to value you more. You think these nail techs are teaching their clients anything? They don't even know. If I tell you the reason why I shouldn't cut your cuticle, your proximal nail follicle. If I tell you why I'm not doing it, then not only will you appreciate that, but you're going to tell everybody else. Let me tell you, if they cut your cuticle, girl, go somewhere else, because they're not supposed to be doing that. My nail tech, Mary, she told me, she on the school, and she been doing nails for 30. See what I'm saying? So make them understand why a cut down is just not a cut down, and why you charge extra for that cut down. Okay? Because you should. The reason why a lot of nail techs get burnt out and they stop doing nails, it's not because they don't love doing nails. It's most of the time it's the clients, and second of all, they don't feel like they're making enough money. Well, why aren't you making enough money? Aren't you your own boss? Don't you make the price? Give yourself a raise. Charge more. Your prices should go up every year. Inflation goes up every year. One of my nail tech friends, she owns the nail tech event of the Smokies. She does which that's another show you guys need to go to, the nail tech event of the Smokies. It's in Tennessee, Gatlinburg. She asked, what's that? The AI Chat GPT. She asked Chat GPT if nails were $35 in 1980 or 1990. With inflation, because y'all know what inflation is, right? Prices have gone up since when I was in 1990, when I was in high school, gas was 78 cents a gallon. Okay, what is it now? Almost $3. Sometimes it is $3. So with inflation, she asked AI, with inflation currently as it is, if prices for nails were $35 in 1990, whatever, how much would nails what should they be today? You know how much it was? You would be surprised. A full set of regular schmegula, degula, salon style nails with inflation, those nails that cost $35 back in the 90s should be $300+ today. And some of y'all still charging $35 for a set of nails. What is wrong with you? And these clients complaining about paying $10 for a cut down. Don't even get me started. Anyway, back to the subject. Everybody understand where the apex belongs. And then when you cut down nails and get them shorter, where you have to place it when you make them shorter, or where they should be when they are short, etc., right? What about the sidewall? The sidewall is so important. You must have them. If you don't have a sidewall, or if you, when you put your tip on, let's just say you put your tip on, right? And you right here, this part right here is usually where when you're filing, you're trying to get the shape in, and you tilt your file at an angle, and next thing you know, you got a little divot right here, like a missing spot right there. What's gonna happen if you have that? The nail's gonna break. Goodbye. It's gonna break. And why does it break? Because it's like, would you want to go on a bridge that's missing like a couple, walk bridges, the ones you walk across that's like in the Indiana Jones movies? And there's a whole like gap missing right there. You got to jump over it or something. Would you want to walk on that bridge? Would you be kind of scared it might fall? Right. Same thing here. Nails are structurally like building a house. You have to have a good foundation, and your tip is the foundation, right? And with sculpting, it's the same thing. You got to make sure, and you can't really sculpt a nail that has a curve. You can't. Right. The paper, it's not possible to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay, but those sidewalls, you can sculpt a nail where the sidewall is not straight if you can do that accidentally or not do it properly. So the sidewalls must be present, and they should be equal in thickness. This happens a lot with sculpting, and what I mean is, for instance, your C curve right here, when you look at the nail from this angle, in competitions, because I used to be like, wow, how is somebody doing a competition on French tips? Like, anybody can do a French tip. You know what they're looking for? They take calipers, those pinch measurement tools, and they measure. Make sure this one is equal to this one is equal to this one. When you guys show me your nails, I always, I'm a teacher and I'm gonna try to be constructive criticism, but I don't look at I look at things that most people don't look at. I look at this. When I'm shaping my own clients' nails, when I'm looking at that, and I want them to be even from side to side. And this is where you guys, when you first start, you lay your acrylic, and it's a little thick on this side. Right? Well, why did you leave it like that? What would you do? You take your file and you're going to whittle away at this so that till it gets to that. Shaping is very simple. You just have to know what you're looking for, okay? And those side walls, they must be straight. Now again, these things are looks, right? You got your curved nails and you got your duck. You can't even get a C curve in a duck tip. How is that possible? You can't. It's going to flare out like this and flatten out. Your C curve is not really going to be a C. It's going to be more like a D. Or push down C. Okay? It's not going to be. So you need those C curves. This is very important. Okay? To anything that has a curve, think about like a arch. What are those called? The golden arches in like St. Louis, right? How the hell is that? People eat, you go up those things and there's like restaurant at the top. How does it not just fall or collapse? How is it strong? It's just a skinny little arch. Well, because of the arch, it gives it strength. Think about like these flat nails, they break very easily because they're flat. You can snap them. But even a straw, think of a straw that you drink out of. If you take a bunch of straws, a bunch of them, you can't bend them. You can't bend them because of the curve. Okay, so that curve is very important. So yeah, there are flat nail tips out there. Those nails tend to break a lot easier than nails that have a deep C curve. And you can get those deep C curves with sculpting most of the time. And then you can also get them in tips. They make I have tips over there that are C curve, no C curve. Because you guys like these no C curve nails. I don't understand it, but it's a look that you guys do. So, got to have the apex, got to have sidewalls, and you also need to have that nail extension underside, under here, needs to be even. And what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes you guys get, a little acrylic underneath here, right? And it's thick and you can try to pick it out, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. But also, when you sculpt the nail, think about these sculpting forms, right? The sculpting form, it has a little hole where you put the nail, your finger in, right? Let me see. Right, you put your finger in the hole. All right, and that hole, when you put that form on, let's just say this is the form, right, and it wraps around like this. There's this hole right here. Put your finger in. This hole can't be there. You have to make sure that this form fits your client's nail. So that means, this is why some of y'all don't like sculpting, because you're like, the form, I can't get it on. It's because you didn't come to the class when I taught you how to do it right. Right? So this part, you may have to tailor the form so that the hole has to be underneath the nail. So there's no gap. Because if you have this hole here, where's the acrylic? When you lay the acrylic, where's it going to go? It's going to fall down into the hole, and then you're going to have more acrylic under the nail than you do on top of the nail. And then that's going to mess up the structure. Yes, darling?
Once I'm done with my first set, do I restart from what we did yesterday?
Yeah. Did you finish it all the way?
Yeah.
I want to see it because I ain't seen no set.
I want to, because you're teaching.
No. Come on and let me see it. I don't want to tell you. Y'all know Naomi? Okay. She's baby of the group. Okay, so does that make sense? We got to have our underside clean, okay? And then the C curve. That C curve, the thickness of it is very important. These look really good.
Thank you. It's like a whole hour trying to shape them.
Well, it's the first time. Takes a little time. The first
Do I just rip them off and put new nails on them?
Good luck with that. Ripping it off. You might have to file it or soak it.
Okay.
But you can file it and then put another tip on top of it. But I'll be done with this in a minute. The thickness is very important. And some of y'all like these really, really, really thick nails, right? That's not cute, first of all. And second of all, it's not a well-structured nail. You can make a nail that is as thin as a piece of paper, long as you have all of these things. Your C curve, your apex, your underside being clean, your sidewalls, and those nails will last a whole lot longer than even an overlay because of the structure, okay? So your C curve, how thick should it be? Because some of y'all will ask, well, how thick should my nails be? I'm curious too. I mean, You just did your nails. You even tried that, right? To see the
Yeah.
thickness, which one. Well, first of all, really thick nails just don't look very good, right? But you can technically, if you can get it down to at least the thickness of a business, not a business card, a credit card, and in particular, like a metal American Express Platinum card, those thicker ones, okay? That's all the thickness you need. It does not have to be, and a lot of these tips are already that thick, okay? Take a look at some of these Gel-X tips. They're not very thick. Look at Brianna's nails. The only thing that would have made them thicker is whatever nail art she may have put on it or gel that she put on it, but they're not thick at all. Okay, and people, when they first came out, the Gel-X nails first came out, I tried my best to like get all my clients to get them because I was charging the same amount of money for the Gel-X as I was an acrylic set, and it was quicker, and they're perfect every time, and a lot of them was like, those are gonna break as soon as I pull up my pants.
That's what I was thinking.
They're gonna bend and break. I don't want those. Now you got people that's all they do is Gel-X. They don't do anything else. And clients go flock to them because it's fast, it's easy, you soak them off, you can grow out your natural nails a whole lot easier with Gel-X. But the thickness of those nails, they're not thick at all. But they are all structurally sound. They have the sidewalls, they have the C curves, they have all of that. You can even, with Gel-X, you can even, a Prey brand, you can even buy the ones that are sculpted or natural shape. And sculpted just means they have a deeper C curve and a higher apex. Okay, the natural shape is a lower, more natural look. Okay, so with that being said, everybody understand the structure of a well-structured nail, how you're gonna have what you're looking for. All right.
I did have a quick question. I know you said the recommended thickness was like a credit card. Mm-hmm. Is that with the apex?
The apex is in a whole different area of the nail. The apex is the highest point, right? So whatever you're bringing up your acrylic, you don't want your apex to be higher than, or you're going to have a nail that slopes down.
Yeah, that's
See
what
I'm
I'm
saying?
thinking.
Now, there are shapes where it will slope. And that's a true stiletto is sculpted, y'all. A true stiletto, because for instance, like yours are stiletto, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your C curve in those nails?
Oh wait, no, it's like
It's at the base,
at the
but at the
base.
tip, it's not.
there's none. Right.
And a stiletto has a C curve that runs clean to the tip until it gets to that point.
Really?
Yes. When we sculpt next week, you'll see. So otherwise, like those nails would be very easy to break because the C curve does not extend all the way to the tip.
Yeah, because it could.
It easily break.
Yeah.
Easily.
If I bend it too much, it will bend.
And how would you get a stiletto with a tip? You gotta cut. You can't.
Right.
You can't. So not a properly well structured stiletto.
Right.
Okay. So with that being said, and you'll see the difference. A stiletto, like a sculpted stiletto, ain't gonna never break. It will not break. It's not even possible. Like unless if you don't have that structure in there. But that's all I have for you guys as far as the tips. The lecture is concerned. Now, I am going to show you guys what I want you to do today. Okay? What you're going to do today is you're going to glue some tips on, the full well tips, to your mannequin hand. I'm going to show you guys a better way to do this so that way you don't end up like Naomi trying to like get them off. Okay? We should have did this yesterday, but so watch this part, okay? Not this part, but when I get ready to do it on the hand. Going to demonstrate on this tip, how you're going to blend these in and what I'm looking for, okay? And what they're looking for at State Board. Again, this is a State Board. You may not ever use full well tips again in your life after you leave this school, okay? Again, we are on YouTube. If y'all want to watch this on YouTube, it's live right now on my YouTube channel, okay? And you can see what they see. All right. So, We're going to pretend this is my client's finger. Okay. What do I need to do first? First, obviously, we're going to have the client wash their hands. Well, there's no hands attached here. It's not a real client. So she went and washed her hands. What's the next thing I'm going to do?
Well, there's no cuticle.
There's no cuticle. We're going to push back invisible cuticle, right? Then, after that, what do?
We remove the shine.
Remove the shine. So I'm going to take this buffer, okay, and I'm just going to remove the shine from the nail. Okay, and why am I using this? I should be using this. Okay. I'll remove the shine from the nail, okay, very gently so we don't destroy our client's nail plate, okay. After we do that, we would dust off our client's nail, remove the dust with a nylon brush, and then cleanse the nail plate with alcohol, right? Again, this is not even a human or a real nail, so it doesn't really, it's not going to show, or you can't see the effect. Now, I need to apply a tip. So we've got all these different tips, sizes here. So I'm looking for what when I'm sizing this tip? Sidewall to sidewall, okay? So, if I take this tip, does this fit?
No.
Not at all. But you'll see people try to force it down, and then or they're not paying attention, and they glue this one on thinking it not turn your client's finger so you can see what's going on. And then when they get ready to shape the client's nail, they've got all this hang time over here, and they'll try to put acrylic there. And then your sidewalls end up being you got acrylic on the underside of the nail. Remember, we don't want that, okay? So let's move on. Let's do something bigger. Well, this one, does this one fit? Not really. It's a little too big, and if I move to this side, it's hanging over as well. Okay, so let's go down one size and see what we got. Go down here. This one actually fits almost perfect, but if I go down to the smaller size, it's gonna be this one actually is perfect. Okay. I'm trying to turn it without it sliding and moving. All right, so how do we put this tip on this client?
We put the glue on the tip.
Now, when you open up your glue, the best way to open it is to, first of all, don't point it towards your face because there's an air bubble in there and it will squirt out and hit you in the eye. Okay, you don't want that. Y'all know, I told y'all the #1 injury in the ER for nail techs is what? Glue in the eye. How do you get glue out of the eye? Acetone. Okay, it's very painful. All right, so cut it at an angle, okay? And then don't apply the glue directly to the nail, okay? Because you're taking a risk. You may or may not put enough on there, okay? Put it on the tip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze a little bit on there. And then use the tip of the glue nozzle to get it all over the well. Okay, I'm not squeezing more in there. Now, what happens if you get too much? It's going to get all over the client's sidewalls and make a mess. So what I recommend, if you do put too much, always have, you're going to have a little towel on your table, right? Paper towel. Just kind of dab it on the paper towel, and it will kind of just remove some of the excess glue. Now, we're going to take our tip, and we're going to get it up to that position stop, and then we're going to rock it back. Now, this, again, is not a human. So if you notice, I've got a little air pocket right there. Can you see it? Okay. We don't want that, do we, Naomi? What happens when we have an air pocket like that? What happened to you yesterday?
You said what happens when it's an air pocket?
Mm-hmm.
It causes like a hole.
Yep, and it's not sticking. So when you go to file it, it goes away, and you don't have no glue there, and then your nails pop up like yours did yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah.
She was so cute. She was like, "What you think?" I was like, "Baby, this nail is popping off. It ain't even glue.
To file it down first.
It ain't even glue. It ain't even no glue there." All right. So what am I gonna do in this situation? Just leave it? No, we can't do that. What we're gonna do? Someone said, "Is it best to put the glue on the nail tip itself or the fingernail?" Listen, darling, listen. Okay. Put it on the tip first, and then when you take this glue here, see how you squeeze a little bit, and then it goes down in there. You saw that? That's what you want. You want it to go down in there. Okay. Now I'm just check the other side, make sure I don't have any air pockets. Okay. And I don't think so. All right. And then we just hold that there, squeeze it down to make sure that it's completely on there. If there is an air pocket, that's not a good thing. I can't really see that, but I think there might be an air pocket right there. Yeah, there is. So I'm gonna fill that with glue. Okay. If this was a human, the finger would bend, the nail would bend a little, and I could squeeze it on there better. But again, it's not. Okay. So fill it in with the glue if you do have air pockets. All right, now if you get an air pocket just smack dab in the middle and you can't get to it, that's a problem, okay? Because you don't want that. The client can end up with water getting in there as the nail grows out. That pocket's still there, okay? So try to make sure that you rock it on. Now, what do I do first? Thank you, Vic.
You cut it and
Cut it and shape it, right? Because if I blend it first, when I get ready to cut it, it might break. It'll be weak right here and it might break. So at State Board, what I want you to do is I want you to cut it short, sweet, square, to the point. Don't try to impress these people. Please don't bust out no lipstick shape or no duck foot nail thinking that that's going to help you pass. It's not, all right? Make your life easy. We're going to take it and we're going to trim it to a short square, all right? Now, go ahead and shape the nail into the square shape that you're looking for, okay? Just gonna go ahead and make it nice and hold your file like it's a pizza cutter. If you want a piece of pizza that is in the shape of a triangle, then you cut it in the shape of a triangle, okay? You don't want to you make sure that when you're filing, you learn how to brace yourself so that you get these straight lines, okay? Same thing over here. Straight, or gaily forward, as my best friend says. We don't use that word, gaily forward. All right? Now that I've shaped it square, I need to blend it, okay? Now, I'm going to use a marker so that you guys can see what's going on here, okay? The line is almost invisible. So let me make sure my glue is dry. Okay. Y'all see the line now? Okay. You see where it is? What you're trying to do here is blend this tip without damaging this area. So when I file, and this is what a lot of you do when you first start, is you're holding your file, instead of holding it flat against the nail, meaning completely flat, because if I lay this flat, then there's obviously going to be a small gap between the highest point and the lower point. Y'all tend to do this, and you end up cutting into the client's natural nail, okay? Do this with an E-file when you're using your sanding bands, and that's a problem, okay? So hold it flat, and you'll know you're holding it flat, especially if you mark on it like this. You'll know you're holding it flat because this part is going to stay blue, and this part is going to disappear, okay? Watch what I mean. We're going to file this until the blue part, this part disappears and when we hit this in the back, then we know we need to stop filing because we're now getting into the natural nail, right? So, see how when I file, I'm not touching this back part. This part is disappearing, but this part is not. That's what you want, okay? And you're gonna keep filing until when you finally do see this part disappear, then you need to stop, okay? Keep filing. I'm just filing this one spot so you guys can see what I mean. And you got to do this gently. I hate plastic tips. I swear. Now, you see, now it's started to disappear. I don't need to file in that spot anymore. And when you go to state board, they're going to go around. Oh, stop. See? I don't want to file in that spot anymore. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm turning the nail as I go. They're going to come around and they're going to do this. And if it stops, like you can see here, right there, ooh, it popped up a little bit. See, I knew there was like a little air pocket there. But they're going to feel here, and if their finger stops and it like catches, then you didn't blend it well. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me make sure that's glued down. My client got flattened, has a curve there that this tip didn't want to fit. Okay, so over here, now that I have completely removed the blue, you can see that this is blended. Okay. Over here, where my glue is still wet, do the same thing. And then, once I'm done, make sure I'm still shaped. I'm trying to keep my nails nice and cute, and they're not going to be doing that today. Take your buffer and remove any of that residual blue there, and you'll see that it's completely buffed, and it looks as if this is all one piece, rather than a tip that's been glued on. Make sense? Mm-hmm. That's what you need to do. And again, it's something it's not so important that it's completely blended and looks flawless when you're doing clients, but at state board, it does matter, okay? And you only got to do this one time in your whole damn life, okay? Once. And that's when it matters the most. So what you guys are going to do today, let me see your hand real quick. Now, you've got tips on here already. Mm-hmm. But when I give you yours is not going to have any tips. And you can remove this polish and do the same technique. So that you do not have to do what Naomi is having to do over there. And that's like file for her life and try to pluck these nails off. We're going to do the tape method, okay? You're going to take some of this tape. And I meant to tell y'all this yesterday, but it slipped my mind. You're going to take this paper tape. And this is so you can easily pluck these off when you're done, okay? And this is very easy to tear. Some of y'all are like, I need scissors. I'm like, why? Weakling. All right. Take the tape. Put it on top of the nail here. Push in the little cuticle area. And you don't have to remove your tips. You don't have to remove them. You can just glue another tip right on top of this. I would remove the polish though.
Oh, yeah.
Put it on here. And then you're going to glue one of the full coverage tips on top. Okay? And then apply your nail tip with your glue, fit it on there, and blend it. I want to see 5 blended nails. Once you blend it, you guys have been practicing with your acrylic ratio all week, last 2 weeks. Put some acrylic on it. Okay? File it and shape it. I want to see what you got. Okay? It's one thing to do it on your own nails, right? Try doing it on the mannequin, okay? And so put this on all 5 of the nails, and then glue your tips on.
Okay.
Then, when you get done, it's easy. You can just kind of bloop, pull, and the tip will pop off. That will keep you from having to file and soak and do all that stuff on these mannequin hands, okay? So that's what you ladies are going to do today. At least I'm going to give you your... Did she give you anything last week? You did something last week.
Yeah, I did on my page.
But you got a brush, didn't you? She gave you a
Not
brush.
to keep.
Oh, she took it back? How dare she? She took it back. I'll give you another one.
when I was gonna start.
Yeah, she did the right thing. So I'll give you everything you need in just a second. Any questions? Got any questions? Any questions? No? Did you learn something today?
No.
Damn. I quit.